want to listen now to the President of the Supreme Court Bar Association, former Additional Solicitor General, one of India's top advocates. Vikas Singh now joins us on this broadcast. We heard a very nuanced argument by Arema Sundaram, your senior colleague on the bar. He's basically making the point that you can't perforce just find some way of clamping down on unfavorable opinion just because there are those in governments who may not like it. You can, of course, clamp down on vulgarity and profanity, and you can have some norms around that. The question that was asked of the government by the Supreme Court was that should content on YouTube be regulated? On this issue, where do you come out? Vikas Singh.
Well, as far as content on YouTube is concerned, today it is completely unregulated. And the result is that it is impossible even in households to stop access to YouTube to even children, because anybody can just log into YouTube and see whatever is available on the platform. So there definitely is a need to control the content on YouTube, and whether it will be done, whether it can be done, whether the technology is there to do it or not is, of course,
but many content creators fear that this is just the government trying to find a way of clamping down on free speech. There's a lot of content on YouTube which is unpopular from the political lens, which the powers that be may not like. So far, they haven't been able to curb that. The concern is that this could be a backdoor way of getting that job done.
So, according to me, the curb on the content can only be if it is bordering on criminality and not otherwise. And if you ask me what has happened in this case, this is a case of humor. And the only section which he has been charged of is, which I think can remotely apply, Section 294 of the BNS. And because 294 talks of obscenity and vulgarity. But when you look at humor, and this is something global, the threshold of vulgarity while, exhibiting humor or while trying to make a humorous show is much higher than the threshold that you'll apply to a sort of a political speech or a serious speech that is given on any platform.
No, so on this question, because the government is trying to come out with a broadcast bill, content creators are trying to oppose it, do you think this is the right opportunity for the government to try and push that through?
So, according to me, only when the content is, of such an intent which can be said to be committing a particular crime under the BNS.
No, according to you, did this beer biceps fellow commit a crime or not?
Yes, so if it is not so, then it can't be, because I remember a very famous US case which said that because US also had the First Amendment, there also they brought in gave free speech a much wider ambit. So they said in that Supreme Court judgment that even if there is an obnoxious branch in free speech, the obnoxious branch should be allowed to grow rather than, to trim it. And that is what free speech is all about. And in fact, I remember when I had done that case for Vinod.
No, so let me bring you to this case. Do you think Ranveer Alabadia committed a crime? Do you think on obscenity action needs to be taken against him? Or do you think this is just everybody going overboard?
I think it is not a crime. It is definitely something which can't be said to be, can be justified as to your sensibilities, or it can definitely be said to be vulgar. It can also be said to be, something which you would not want families to see.
Sure.
But at the same time, it can't be said to be a crime. You will recall Amar Singh Chamkila, who was murdered in Punjab. He also used to crack all kinds of jokes, which were definitely vulgar, and the society found it to be vulgar, and he lost his life because of that. He was ultimately killed for that. But he was also not accused of any crime even in those days. So according to me, this kind of, broad-mindedness, Lakshman cartoon have been quite critical of what politicians do. And this is quite so many years back it started. But it was never considered to be a crime.
Okay.
According to me, dealing with humor, the threshold has to be much higher.
You can be offended and disgusted by his comments without thinking of this as a crime, and that doesn't necessarily mean that you go and use that opportunity to come down on political free speech. Vikas Singh, for joining us with your thoughts. Thank you very much, sir.